What's going on, guys? Aero here, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I want to talk to you guys some more about Generation 9 with Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet, but more specifically about the new Terastallizing gimmick, which is going to be a part of these games. Now this gimmick was introduced to us a couple of months ago, but since then we've actually learned some more information about exactly how this is going to work and how the mechanics of it are actually made, and I feel like that there hasn't really been any video that I've seen where somebody has really kind of just taken the time to go super in depth and explain everything there is to know about terastallizing, so that's what I'm going to try to do inside of this video. Now I really feel like this is one of those gimmicks that doesn't look super cool on paper. It's like your Pokemon gets crystallized, it gets this funny looking hat on top of it, but besides that it's not like a super cool epic transformation like when you see Cynthia mega evolving with her Garchomp and having it transform into this really cool looking monster. So I feel like because of that a lot of people just look at this gimmick and think of it as something pretty lame and it's not super exciting, but really a lot of the interesting elements about this gimmick come from the changes that you can do with it in the gameplay, and that's what I really want to kind of go in depth into inside of this video and talk about it. We're going to start really kind of basic so that even anybody who doesn't play competitive Pokemon or know anything about this can get an idea of how cool this actually is. Now real quick before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that I am partnered with Best Buy now, and so there will be links below in the description and the pinned comment to Pokemon Scarlet, Pokemon Violet, and even the double pack. If you click those links and then pre-order from there, you can really support me and help out the channel a lot, so I would really appreciate it. And Best Buy is awesome because they'll actually give you free shipping and send the game right to your house day one, so if you want to play the games the day that they're available and have them delivered right to your doorstep, then definitely consider pre-ordering from the links below in the description or the pinned comment. I would really appreciate it. And these games are looking pretty cool, so I know a lot of you guys definitely want them. Now before we get into terastallizing, the first thing that we need to talk about is a gameplay mechanic that some people might not even know about, and that's called stab. Now stab in Pokemon stands for same type attack bonus, and I don't know if some of you guys know about this. If you play competitive Pokemon you definitely do, but some people who just play Pokemon very casually might not know about this, which is that whenever you use an attack in a Pokemon game, if that attack is actually the same type as the Pokemon that's using it, you get a slight bonus in terms of the damage output that you get and the power that the move has. And so this is a 1.5 times multiplier on top of the original power that this move already has. And so if we take a look at a Pokemon here like Charizard, Charizard is a fire and flying Pokemon. And so that means if you use any moves that are fire or flying type with Charizard, they're going to get a 1.5 times multiplier in terms of their damage output. So for example, a move like Flamethrower, which does 90 power normally, is actually going to have 135 base power when Charizard is using it. And a move like Air Slash, which has 75 power, is going to have 112.5 power when Charizard is using it because of that stab bonus. But if we take a look at a move just like Dragon Pulse, for example, because Charizard is not normally a dragon type, Dragon Pulse is just going to do its normal damage of 85. And so in Scarlet and Violet, every single Pokemon is also going to come with its own special Tera type, and the Tera type can be different to its normal typing and be any of the 18 types. You can find some Pokemon with rare Tera types just glowing around in the world and go ahead and battle them, but you can also get some really rare ones doing the Tera Raid Battles. Now, according to insider Riddler Coup, who has pretty much gotten everything right about these games, it seems like there's also going to be some way for you to be able to change out the Tera types on your existing Pokemon and be able to edit them to whatever one that you want. I'm guessing it's probably going to be some type of post-game feature so you can easily kind of switch out which typing you want so that it's easier for you to bring into competitive battles, but it is nice that you're probably going to be able to do that within the game. Now Tera types are always just going to be one singular pure typing, but this ability allows you to be able to change your Pokemon's existing typing into its Tera type at any point in battle. And so this can be useful in multiple ways, which I'll get to at the end of the video, but what's really cool about this is that the ability to terastallize now allows for some Pokemon which might have moves that normally wouldn't get that stab bonus, which I talked about earlier, to be able to use it. So if we take a look at Charizard again, Charizard only gets that 1.5 times stab multiplier on its fire and flying type moves, but obviously Pokemon can learn many different types of moves that are not the same typings as they originally are. So for example, a move that I could teach to my Charizard is Solar Beam, so that I can use that to counter against rock and water type Pokemon, but Charizard isn't a grass type Pokemon, so it's not going to get that stab bonus, and it's just going to do its normal 120 power. However, if I did have a terastallized Charizard that did have a Tera type which was grass, now when I terastallize it and turn it into a grass type, it would also gain that 1.5 times stab multiplier from Solar Beam, and so instead of doing 120 power, it would now be doing 180. And so Terastallizing literally changes your Pokemon's existing typing into their Tera typing, and because of that, some moves now that you might have on that Pokemon, which normally wouldn't get that stab boost, can also gain it, but at the same time, your Pokemon's typing has also changed, so if I do make Charizard into a pure Grass type Pokemon, it is now going to be taking super effective damage from Flying type attacks and Bug type attacks and Poison and all of that, but now when it does get hit by moves that are going to be like Water attacks, they would be doing not very effective damage because I'm a pure Grass type Pokemon. So now maybe some of you are thinking, well, what would happen if my Tera type is also the same as one of my existing typings? So for example, Charizard is already a fire and flying Pokemon, but what if its Tera type was also fire? And the good news for that is that you're actually going to be getting a stacked bonus on top of that. So instead of getting the 1.5 times multiplier that you normally get for stab, if Charizard had like a fire Tera type as well, then that means for your fire type attacks, when you're Terastallized, you're going to be getting an insane 2 times multiplier. And so that means a move like Flamethrower, which has 90 power, would do 135 if Charizard is using it normally with the stab bonus that it gets, but if you Terastallize it and it's also a fire type on that, you're going to be doing an insane 180 power as you're using it with your Terastallized form. Now, some competitive players might even know that there's an ability in Pokemon called Adaptability, and what this ability does is that it increases your stab bonus from 1.5 times to 2 times just normally on your Pokemon. So if you really wanted to, you could have a Pokemon that has the ability Adaptability and then have their Tera typing also be that exact same typing, Terastallize it, and then get an insane 2.5 times multiplier to that typing for every single attack that you use that is that same typing. So for example, a Pokemon that has the ability Adaptability is Porygon Z. So for example, if I had a Porygon Z that had the ability Adaptability and then also had a normal Tera type, if I Terastallize that Pokemon and then have it use a move like Hyper Beam, which has a 150 base power normally, I can have it get an insane 2.5 times multiplier and then do a ridiculous 375 base power when Porygon Z uses it, so you could just do some insane damage. Generation 9 also has a brand new move called Tera Blast, and this is an attack that you can only use when you're Terastallized, but the typing of this move is going to be the same as your Tera type, and it's pretty much always going to do whatever is better for your Pokemon. So if your Pokemon has a higher attack stat, it's going to do physical damage. If your Pokemon has a higher special attack stat, it's going to do special damage, and it has a base power of 80, so it is going to hit pretty hard, but you can definitely see the use for this because now it allows for some Pokemon to have impossible typings as their moves be able to be used as an offensive measure. So for example, because of this, you can give your Charizard like a water type attack that does 80 damage as something that you could have as a precaution to like rock type Pokemon or something like that, which it normally wouldn't be able to do. And because of this, you can give some of your Pokemon some insane typings. Like if you wanted to have like a grass type Pokemon know an ice type move, or if you wanted to have like your random ghost type Pokemon know a dragon move or something, it's really, really cool that you can do this. And because of this, it's kind of like hidden power, but taken to another level. And so from all of this now, I think that you guys are able to kind of see what uses that you can have for this new Terastallizing gimmick. It doesn't really seem super cool in terms of what it does and how it just becomes like this crystallized form, but it really can change kind of how the gameplay is going to go. And there's so many different ways to use it. Like obviously because of this new Tera Blast move, you can give some of your Pokemon like an insane type coverage attack that it normally wouldn't even be able to get, but also you could use this really offensively for a Pokemon like Hydreigon, for example, where like Hydreigon is a Pokemon that has a pretty high special attack stat. So let's say that I had the Tera type on my Hydreigon also be a Dragon type. So now if I use a move like Draco Meteor, which does 140 damage, have a 2 times multiplier now because of stab and Terastallizing, it's going to do an insane 280 base power special type attack that's going to be hitting my opponent. And then if I also have like a Modest Nature, maxed out IVs, choice specs, like you could do some insane damage and use that move offensively. But at the same time, you can also use Terastallizing defensively and try to read your opponent and outplay them. So for example, if you're using a Pokemon like Gyarados being a water and flying type, it's 4 times weak against electric, which is a huge weakness for it. And if you know that your opponent is going to be trying to hit you with something like Thunderbolt, you can have your Gyarados Terastallize turn into a ground type, and now that electric attack is not going to be doing any damage as you're going to be immune, and then you can hit them back with a counter attack. With a rock and dark type Pokemon like Tyranitar, you're going to be 4 times weak against fighting, And so if you know that a close combat is going to be coming, you can terastallize your Pokemon and turn it into a ghost type Pokemon, which of course is going to be immune to fighting, and now you're going to be able to protect yourself and then hit the other Pokemon back. So you can really use this offensively or defensively, and because you don't really need to have any item attached to your Pokemon to be able to terastallize, and because any Pokemon can be any of the 18 Tera types, all 6 of your Pokemon are all going to have different Tera types. Some might be Pokemon you want to terastallize, others might be ones you don't want to, but you could terastallize them to catch your opponent off guard, and any of your opponent's Pokemon could be any of the 18 Tera types, and any of them could be carrying Tera Blast, and you're not going to know the typing of that move either. So because of that, I feel like that the battles in this game are really going to be insane in terms of the unpredictability, and that's what's really going to kind of change up the competitive scene just entirely in terms of this generation. Your Pokemon is also going to be able to stay in its terastallized form for the entire battle, so you can switch out your Pokemon and send out another one, and you don't have to be limited to a certain number of turns. Like with Dynamax, you only had 3 turns, so you can sub out your Pokemon and switch it out as much as you want. Until your Pokemon faints, you can always stay in your terastallized form. And so yeah, there you go guys, that is pretty much everything that you need to know about this new terastallizing gimmick inside of Generation 9 with Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and exactly how it's going to work. If you guys enjoyed this video, then definitely be sure to click that like button and also comment down below and let me know what you guys think about this. How are you guys feeling about this new gimmick? Are you excited for it? Do you not really like it? How do you guys feel about it? Definitely be sure to comment down below and let me know. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Pokemon content in the future, so definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at @Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.